Hooks are the most important part of a video, and without a good hook, your video will not perform. And I know everyone said this all before, but no one ever teaches you the psychology behind a good hook so you can create your own hook without having to go on Google and copy and paste viral hooks. And not just that, I'm going to give you 3 different types of hooks that you can combine and use in your video so you can maximize your video's performance. And because I'm not a gatekeeper, there is actually a second hook in the video, and it doesn't come after the first one. It comes somewhere towards the end of the video, and I'll show you how you can perfect it so you can maximize your video's performance. Okay, first let's dig into the psychology behind the hook. No one actually explained this to me. I had to dig so deep into the internet, and honestly, this is just human psychology right now. This is down to the raw bones basics, and no one really talks about it. The first thing that you want to do when you're thinking of creating a hook, I was going to say a loop, is building or starting a curiosity loop. And to simply explain curiosity, it's when you make a viewer or someone else think what's going to come next, and they want to know what's coming next, but they have no idea what's going to come next. And this brings out the human nature in us, making us want to stay and continue watching until we know what's going to come next. And I guess that's why humans like gossiping and telling stories, but that does work well on the internet, but that's not what we're talking about today. However, the major mistake people use when they start a curiosity loop, because a lot of people do it by accident, is they close the curiosity loop pretty much straight away. Or they close it and never start a new one, which means there's no reason for the viewer to actually continue watching the video. For example, if I started my short form video saying this is the secret technique that Mr. Beast uses to blow up his videos, and then the next line is this is the secret technique and everything you need to know, and then I carry on the video just waffling about whatever, everyone's going to sign out as soon as they got the information that they came for. There's no reason for me to continue making the video. So that's a major mistake people make. If you want to continue waffling, you need to introduce another curiosity loop, such as a twist in the video. For example, you can introduce a second curiosity loop into the video, which can come after the second hook. And it goes something like this. Imagine your first hook is like, Mr. Beast uses this software to make his videos blow up on YouTube. The software is called ViewStats, and it does absolutely everything that you need to know about YouTube. However, you can introduce a second curiosity loop, which can force the viewer to stay because they want to know how to maximize the use of the tool. So I can add a twist by saying, but Mr. Beast uses it in a specific way, and I'm going to show you exactly how. Boom. Now you're going to wonder, okay, what's the specific way Mr. Beast uses it? Because everyone knows that Mr. Beast is a flipping viral king, and he gets hundreds of million views every single video drop. But stuff like that, that's how you introduce another curiosity loop, and you can keep doing it throughout the video. And that's probably the reason YouTube is a lot harder than short form content, is because there's consistently a curiosity loop going on. Some people master it, some people don't. Of course, I'm still working on it, but let's move on to the next one. But the second thing is video context. And to put this in simple terms, the start of your video, short form videos, the first 3 seconds needs to obviously induce curiosity, but also tell the viewer what the video is going to be about. And that's exactly what YouTube videos do. It's what Mr. Beast has been doing his entire life. When he realized this, he honed in on it. Mr. Beast explains exactly what's going to be in his YouTube videos within 10 seconds. And obviously YouTube's a longer platform. So if he can do it in 10 seconds, but you're taking 10 seconds in a short form video, your video is probably not going to go viral like you want it to do. And this is why I always say it's important that you script your hook or script your intro, whether it's on short form or long form content. But the rest of the video, feel free to put bullet points and basically say your own words that you would naturally say. Because I know you can script a whole ass YouTube video or a whole ass short form video, and it could take you ages to record that video, because as you're reading the lines, you're saying it and you're stumbling over your flipping own script, because that's not how you naturally speak, which can just cause issues with authenticity. And plus, when you script your videos, you want your intro to be concise. Make the sentences as short as possible. And I actually got the short sentences from Callaway, absolute go at this content thing. But make your sentences as short as possible. That way it forces you to be more concise with your words, meaning that you can actually say what the video is going to be about and induce curiosity within 3 seconds, the first 3 seconds of your short form video, or maybe your first 20 seconds of your YouTube video. And obviously, throughout my time creating content, I actually experimented with this, not intentionally, but now I know that I've got results for both sides. I've started videos where there was no context and I was just kind of use the viral hooks that people say, and it just wasn't working, bro. I was like, I'm using these viral hooks and it's not working. And that's because there was no context to what the video is going to be about, so there's no reason for them to stay. And then even if they did stay, my video idea wasn't compelling enough, so there was no reason for them to even carry on watching. So they'll just drop off as soon as they hear me say something that they do not give a fuck about. And the last thing I want to cover in the psychology of a hook, and this works so well for me. If you actually go onto my Instagram, I am Ajane. I've posted a bunch of reels, but if you find some of my viral ones, I'm talking like 1 million plus. I'm sure I've got one pinned. I always start with the negative, and I always say spin the negative. And again, this goes down to the bare bones human psychology. We use negativity to basically survive when we was out there in the field. I don't even know if it was out there in the field, but we basically use negativity to sense danger. So that's how we basically survived. So when something is negative to us now, we pay more attention to it, maybe because of our survival skills. But the main reason that I say use negativity so people can pay attention, because once you have their attention, you actually get views, the video gets pushed out, the algorithm likes it, people share it, stuff like that. The main thing we want here is attention. And if we have to abuse human psychology to do it, it's exactly what we're going to do. So you're going to have to spin the negative. And a great way that I use this, and feel free to copy, I basically just take my normal hook. Let's say I was going to make a video. I've actually made this video. How the best settings on an iPhone camera. I just said, never record content on your iPhone until you use these 3 settings. And there's 2 things that I did in that hook that was just very, very intentional. One, I spun the negative. And the second thing is I gave them a list of things to look out for. I told them there's going to be 3 settings to change. Now they're curious to find out what these 3 settings are, if they've heard of it. And also another thing, I went straight into the video, and the first setting I showed them was a very controversial one, because people in the comments were talking about, hey, you shouldn't turn this off because it takes away 10-bit and etc, etc. My reasoning was, a lot of people don't give a fuck about 10-bit. They just want to record their shit, put it in the editing software. But when they put it in the editing software, the HDR makes it super overexposed. And if you're new to editing, you're going to be like, what the fuck, my video's ruined. And it's just a whole headache. Now that's the psychology part out the way. The next thing that you want to be focusing on is the visual hook. And I want to say visual hooks are just as important as the psychology of a hook, because visual hooks can be used at the same time as your psychology hook. This one makes it so great. It's not like you have to use the psychology and then you use the visual hook. Literally, they layer on at the same time. So in your first 3 seconds, you're using psychology. First 3 seconds, you're using your visual hook. It's flipping amazing. And a great person that does this is Callaway. I've tried to use his style, but it just doesn't work for me. Obviously, you guys can use your own style, but there's a few ways that you can implement the visual hook, as I'm going to show you right now. So the first way, sorry about that. So the first way is by basically showing a relevant image. Now I use this video didn't go extremely viral. It did like 32K views, but that's better than my average views, right? I've got 35,000 followers at the moment, averaging like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 views. This got 32K views. Now, I did 2 things here. I showed a relevant image, but I also blurred out that image. The reason I blurred out that image, because I wanted to create a curiosity loop. I didn't want people to see the logo and fully be like, oh, that's this website. I don't need to watch it. Thanks though, bro. As I'm saying it, they don't know what website is because I didn't say what the website is. I just showed the logo. It's blurred. I made sure that it's really blurred so people couldn't tell. Like, even if you might know what the logo is, you're not quite sure. And to be honest, even I'm looking at this now and I'm like, what logo is this? But I'm pretty sure it's VidClue, if I'm right. Then the next one is Callaway style. Now, yeah, I'll call it Callaway style. I know Ben uses this style as well. I use this style as well when I'm showing screen recordings, but not all the time. But some of the times I think it's just really, really, really clean. Now, captions, that's just a staple. But the split screen is effective when you're showing screen recordings, because when you're recording something on your screen, for example, the laptop, it's a different aspect ratio to what your reels are in, by 9:16, your reels, and then 16:9, your screen, computer screen, or whatever it is. So when you're doing it, you're either going to have to put the full screen recording there and make it really small, and then you'll have like borders at the top and the bottom, Or you can expand the screen recording a bit, show what you need to show on the screen recording and put it in the top half or the bottom half, and then put yourself in the lower half. This is, you could call it brain rot, because there's people that do this with like Minecraft videos, right? You have the person talking in a podcast at the top, and then you got a Minecraft video or a GTA video or a painting video, or whatever video at the bottom, to basically try and capture your attention twice. But for an educator, this is a great way to show what you're talking about as you're talking about it. And then the third visual hook is just showing relevant images or visual images. As I said, the best thing I like to do is blur them out. This one, I actually used a blur. The other one was a pixelated effect. I found the pixelated effect works a lot better, because the blur, you can kind of make out what these platforms are. But if I used the pixelated effect, maybe it would have been a bit different. And in fact, someone did comment on this video saying, hey, I can see the websites, maybe add in a bit more blur next time. But that's just something I figured out. And now we're moving on to the verbal hook. And the reason this is important, you probably think, oh, verbal is just the psychology. Now, psychology, I just call it mind games. The visual hook is what your eyes see, and the verbal hook is basically what your mouth is saying. Now, of course, what your mouth is saying is also playing a psychological role, but this is not the psychology aspects. You'll get it once I go through it all. The first thing that you need to understand is the mic quality is so important, guys. It's so important. You will do it, and you'll probably do it unconsciously or subconsciously or whatever. You will be scrolling on TikTok or Instagram, and you'll come across a video that looks interesting, but the audio's so shit. You're just like, oh, forget this, bro. Like, you're not trying to flip and decode what they're trying to say, man. It's 2025, bro. We gotta just upgrade that mic. And a good mic nowadays, like £70, £100, if that. I'm not saying that's super cheap, but save up, get one, and it's a major difference. Before you upgrade your camera, buy a MacBook, buy yourself a mic. Can connect to your iPhone, future cameras that has multi connection points. Like, get yourself a mic, bro. I invested in this mic. Well, in fact, this mic was sent out to me, but before this, I actually did have another mic, which was good. You guys can hear me very clear. And plus, with this mic, you can't hear the reverb that's really in the room. So that's another reason I got it. And plus, once you're editing, there's, like, if you're using Premiere Pro, there's literally voice enhancer. There's no reason to have a bad mic. A bad mic can ruin your video. Anyway, also the speed of speech in your intro makes a major impact. So I did door-to-door sales for a bit, and I was playing around with my speed of speech, if that's what you want to call it. I started off and I was just blurting out information straight away, trying to get their attention. Now, of course, it's a completely different environment, but it's kind of like when you're on short form videos. You knock someone's door, they're not expecting you, they answer the door, they're like, okay, I'm going to give this nigga 5 seconds. Same way when you go on a fucking TikTok or Instagram reel, you're like, I'm going to give this guy 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And if they're speaking slow, like I'm talking about, I spoke really fast, but then some doors I tried to slow down my speech, and I'm talking, I'll be like, hey, John, or I don't even know their name actually. I'll be like, hey, sir, have you seen us in the area? Now, of course, I tried to, have inflection in my speech and all of that stuff, but they didn't give a fuck. I showed up at their door unannounced and I'm asking questions. Same way that you show up on someone's For You page unannounced and you're speaking slow as fuck, maybe you're asking questions. The speed of speech matters. Now, I'm not saying that you need to speak really super fast and then blah, 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 blah. Just speak at a good speed that you can actually get your hook out in the first 5 seconds at least. Like maximum 5 seconds. And the next thing that you need to worry about when it comes to your speech is the flow of speech. Now, this one is a bit more difficult. This one will take practice and you will find your own flow. Some people already have it because they're natural speakers, like Neural Knowledge, no glaze. But the way someone flows, it can be so elegant, or it can be like right now there's no flow. I'm gonna be fucking honest. There's no flow. When they pause, when they use filler words, stuff like that can just ruin the whole entire flow. Of course, when you're doing short form videos, it's a lot easier to kind of fix this because the video is at 60-40 seconds max. So you can script out the videos and say it line by line. If you're scripting out your YouTube videos and saying line by line, boy, you are in fucking trouble. I guess you can use a teleprompter, but that's a story for another day. And I honestly can't be asked to use teleprompters. And the next thing is clarity. Now in short form videos, you need to be super clear in your hook, right? You basically need to tell them what the video is going to be about, but also induce curiosity. The same with the YouTube video intros. The only difference is in YouTube videos, you can explain exactly what you're going to tell them inside the video, just like I did at the start of this video. Whereas in short form content, you're more stringing them along, as I gave with the Mr. Beast video. This is how Mr. Beast goes viral every single time. He uses his own software called ViewStats, and it's now available to the public, but he uses it in a specific way. That twist there kind of strings you along. I gave you what you came for, that's the value, but I'm stringing you along. Also, very important, even though you're clarifying and being super clear what the video is going to entail and what it's going to be about, that doesn't mean you give them everything at once, especially in YouTube videos. I've seen this mistake made loads. Like, there's no way you're going to enter a YouTube video saying, okay, I'm going to tell you how to craft the perfect hook using human psychology, visual hooks, verbal hooks, audible hooks, and then basically tell them everything inside of each category and then go on to explain each category for the next 15 minutes. They're going to be like, bro, you gave me everything I came for. There's no reason for me to be here. Now, let's go on to the last one. Well, technically it's not the last one because I did say I'll give you the second secret hook that's inside of the video. But the next one is audible hooks. Now, I feel like this one's overlooked. No one really speaks about this one. Music. There's a few ways you can use music. Now, there's two ways in particular that I really like to use music in my short form videos. The first way, very simple. You basically just slap the music track onto the video. However, it's important that you make sure the music actually matches the tone of the video. So I just like to use like instrumentals of popular songs because it's short form videos. There's no technically copyright. And if there is, the video is just muted. You just post it again with a different song. Now, the second way that I like to use it is my hook would have no music in the background. And then as soon as the hook is finished, I'd add a reverse bell or a riser, maybe both. And then I'd put the music in where the beat drops. I just like the way that I just like it. And I just think it recaptures their attention. But that's just my belief. Haven't really looked at the data to prove it. And I still use both ways to this day. However, with YouTube videos, it's slightly different. It's like the opposite. People use music to kind of capture your attention at the start, and then after the intro's done, sometimes they go into the video with no music. Or sometimes they just switch the music and use like a lo-fi track or a hi-fi track. I don't even know what it's called. And you just use that in the background really quietly, or a piano track really quietly in the background, just to have something there if there's any moments of silences. And the second thing is sound effects. Now, I don't really use this as much as I used to, mainly because I got kind of lazy and I found them slightly annoying. Like, I used to use like the click effects every time, like I used to do fast cuts. Boy, that shit got really annoying for me. The only time I'd use sound effects is if I'm using a film burn, if I'm using a zoom in or a zoom out. And that's mainly because Premiere Pro has something called Premiere Composer. And once you add like zoom in and zoom outs, they add a sound effect with it without you having to do it. You just have to adjust the sound. But yeah, man, sound effects definitely work. It's just, do you have the time to do them? Now, let's go into the secret one. And I know you guys can't see this right here. This is my little secret power right now. The secret second hook. Now, I ain't gonna hold you to it. It's the ending line of your video. If you're using a call to action at the end of your videos, you're probably killing it. I always like to say use a midway CTA. I don't use it all the time, but a lot of the time, midway CTAs work so much better than an end CTA because not everyone makes it to the end of your video. So anywhere between 20 and 60% is golden because a lot of people will never make it to the end of the video. So if you put it 30% in, you're going to capture more people. Like, for example, if you're using a ManyChat automation, you're going to capture more people and more people are going to comment if you put it 30% of the way into the video rather than 90% of the way into the video. Now, the secret second hook, the ending line. Your ending line is just as powerful as your hook. That's the last thing the viewer will hear, and that's probably the last thing they'll remember. So you just want to end it with something really powerful, really rememberable, or just end it with a promise. For example, and I promise you, if you follow the exact method that Mr. Beast uses, you too can also make viral videos. That will be the end of the whole Mr. Beast view stats reel that I was just kind of giving an example for throughout the whole entire video. And yeah, man, that's the end of it, really. Same with YouTube videos. Don't end on a call to action. And also, don't end the video by saying you're gonna end the video, because once people sense you are ending the video, they'll just be like, ah, you're ending the video. Gotcha. Let me start looking for the next one, and they'll click off. And even though it might not ruin your complete watch through rate, you might get a mad fall off. Like, I literally see it happen. There's 3-5 seconds before the end of the video, and the fall off just goes, yoom. Like, people are just out of there, bro. As soon as they got their information, they're gone. And most of the time, they're leaving comments while the video's playing. So it's not like, oh yeah, they're gonna leave a comment while the video's ending. Once the video's done, they are fucking done.